AI writing tools, right? They're everywhere you look these days, promising to write your essays, your articles, maybe even your next novel.
Yeah. Like, who needs to actually think anymore when you've got AI to do it for you?
Right. Well, today we're going to deep dive into one of these tools that's been making some noise, Aithor.
Aithor, yeah, it's supposed to be super powerful, uses all this fancy AI to do your writing for you. But
But is it actually any good?
that's the million-dollar question, right?
That's what we wanted to find out. So we turned to our trusty source, AHelp.
Ah, AHelp. Those guys are great. They really dig into these tools.
They do. No marketing fluff, just honest reviews based on real testing.
Mystery shopping, that's what they call it.
Yeah, love that. And they give each tool a score, the AHelp score. So drum roll, please. Aithor got a 63.6 out of 100.
So kind of middle of the road then. Not great. Not terrible.
Exactly. So we thought, let's dive into this. What did they actually find?
Yeah, what's the good, the bad, and the ugly?
Well, on the plus side, AHelp really liked the built-in reference finder.
Oh, that's huge, especially for students. Anything that saves time on research is a win.
100%. And the other cool feature is the table of contents generator. You know how much time we spend figuring out the structure of a paper?
Oh, tell me about it. It's the worst.
Well, Aithor analyzes your writing and suggests a structure for you.
Interesting, like having an AI writing coach.
That's kind of the idea. And, get this, Aithor can also mimic your writing style.
What? Really?
You feed it some samples of your work, and it supposedly adapts to your tone and vocabulary.
Wow, okay, that's getting a little too Black Mirror for me.
Right. It does sound futuristic, but is it effective?
That's the thing, right? Mimicking a writing style is one thing, but actually writing well is a whole other story.
Exactly. And that's where Aithor seems to stumble. AHelp found the writing quality to be a bit all over the place.
Really? Like how so?
One of the biggest criticisms was that the language often sounded clunky and unnatural.
It's like they nailed the technical aspects but missed that human touch.
Exactly. Like having a robot try to write a love letter.
Ouch.
Technically correct, maybe,
Wow.
but definitely lacking something. And it wasn't just AHelp saying the writing wasn't great either.
Oh, really? So they got other opinions?
They did. They actually asked a professor to have a look at an essay written by Aithor.
Ah, that's a good idea. Get an expert's take on it. So, what did the professor think? Spill the tea.
Yeah, well, the professor gave it pretty low marks for things like mechanics and reasoning logic, like at 25% if you can believe it.
Wow, that's harsh. You'd think an AI writing tool would at least nail the grammar and structure.
You'd think, right?
Makes you wonder, like, what is this AI actually good at if it can't even get the basics right?
Right, and it kind of highlights a bigger point about AI in general, right? Like, it's still in its early stages.
Totally.
AI can process a ton of information and string words together, but...
Yeah, but it doesn't really get the whole thinking part yet.
Exactly.
Right.
Like, it can't replace our own judgment and critical thinking.
100%.
Speaking of things AI might not be great at, AHelp pointed out a couple of other areas where Aithor missed the mark.
Okay, like what?
Well, they said the formatting options were really limited.
Huh. Seems like a small thing, but it can make a big difference.
Oh, totally. Especially in academic writing where there are all those specific style guides.
Exactly. You got to have your headings and citations all in the right place.
And that actually reminds me of another thing Aithor doesn't even do in-text citations.
Wait, seriously? It doesn't do citation?
Nope. Can you imagine trying to use this thing for schoolwork and having to manually put in every single source?
What a nightmare. That seems like a pretty major oversight.
Right. Like they forgot one of the most basic things a writing tool needs to do.
It's almost like they were so busy trying to make it sound all fancy and AI-powered that they forgot about the actual user experience.
Exactly. But, okay, so we've got this AI writing tool. It's got some kind of cool features, but also some big flaws. The question is it worth the price?
Yeah, how much does this thing even cost?
So Aithor's pricing is a little, shall we say, interesting. They've got a couple of paid plans, right? $24.99 a month or $99.99 for the year.
Okay, so not exactly cheap. Especially for students.
Definitely not. And here's the kicker. The free plan is basically useless. You only get 300 characters.
300 characters? You can't write anything with that.
I know, right? It's like they don't even want you to try it before you buy it.
Super sketchy. Makes you wonder if they're not so confident in their own product.
And that's not even the worst part. Remember how we talked about reading the fine print?
Uh-oh. This is where it gets juicy, isn't it?
It does. So AHelp found some user reviews that raised some red flags about Aithor's business practices.
Oh no, what did they find?
So AHelp found this user, Maria Garces, and she had a real nightmare trying to cancel her Aithor subscription.
Yeah. Oh, no. Really? What happened?
Well, she said they just kept charging her credit card, even after she followed all the cancellation steps.
Ugh, classic subscription service shenanigans. It's like they make it impossible to leave.
It's so frustrating. That's exactly why we always say, do your research.
100%. Read those terms and conditions, people. And the user reviews, those are gold.
Absolutely. It's like having a friend who's tried all the products before you and can tell you which ones are actually worth your money.
Right. Like, hey, I tried that AI writing tool you were talking about. Don't bother. It's a scam.
Exactly. And that's why I really appreciate what AHelp is doing. They're cutting through all the marketing hype and giving us the real deal.
Yeah, they're doing the dirty work so we don't have to.
Exactly. So let's wrap this up. We've looked at Aithor, the good, the bad, and maybe even the ugly.
A mixed bag, if you ask me.
Totally. Some interesting features, but also some big downsides, and then, those concerns about their business practices.
Yeah, not a good look.
Not at all. So what's the takeaway for our listeners? What have we learned today?
I think the biggest lesson here is to be an informed consumer. Don't just believe the hype, especially when you see those two magic letters, AI.
Right. AI is everywhere these days. It's easy to get caught up in all the excitement, but
take it with a grain of salt.
exactly. Do your research, read reviews from multiple sources, and if you're really thinking about using a tool, maybe test it out yourself before you commit to anything.
And you know what? At the end of the day, trust your gut.
Yeah. If something feels off, it probably is.
Exactly.
Well said. On that note, we'll wrap it up there. Thanks for joining us for another deep dive. We'll catch you next time.